This news update is brought to you by...
Say hello to Carol. Carol talks for a living, from morning till night. So she relies on Flo's crystal clear home phone service brought to her through Flo's 100% fiber to the home network. It keeps her in the know, and because she bundles her mobile broadband and TV services, she enjoys huge savings, so she can enjoy much more for much less. So visit any Flo retail outlet, call 1-800-804-2994, or visit discoverflow.co to find out more. One-of-a-kind connection. This is how we flow.
This is the Barbados Today Evening News Update for Monday, May 30th. Thank you for joining us. I am Marie-Claire Williams. We begin with news that MP for St. James Central, Kerry Simmons, is calling for Finance Minister Chris Sinclair to be disciplined over the findings of the Auditor General's report. Simmons told Barbados Labour Party Christchurch East constituency meeting last night that there are a number of worrying issues in the report, and he says Sinclair needs to be held accountable for what he calls financial lawlessness.
What the Auditor General has now shed light on, comrades, and that is that there has been in Barbados, clearly above and beyond the reprehensible conduct taking place with respect to the National Housing Corporation, a widespread practice for this lawlessness, this financial lawlessness to take place, to the tune now of over $750 million with a B. $750 million moved from the treasury of this country to statutory corporations without parliamentary approval, without parliamentary oversight, and absolutely nothing in place to give any security so that the government can be sure that they will get back their money. No protection whatsoever for this money, to the point where the Auditor General is saying today that these agencies which benefited from the funds do not have resources to repay the government.
The administration of the Royal Barbados Police Force is clearing the air over complaints by some police officers of not being paid for extra duties since November last year. Some officers have told Barbados Today they have not received any money for working at private events. One officer said he could not understand why it was taking so long, considering that the money has to be paid up front by organizers of private functions into the accounts of the departments of the force. However, Acting Superintendent in charge of administration, Timothy Springer, told Barbados Today that officers have been paid. He also explained that those who have not yet been paid would have submitted their documents late. Commerce and Industry Minister Don Villenis is once again defending government's decision to ask students to pay tuition fees at the University of the West Indies Cayville campus. Finance Minister Chris Sinclair announced the new policy in his 2013 budget presentation. Innes told a meeting of the DLP's St. Michael's South constituency branch on Sunday that the move has since shaved about $50 million off government's contribution to the tertiary institution.
We could not, as a nation, continue to pay the full tuition and economic costs at university. And you know, all of the individuals who have criticized the government over its stance in relation to tertiary education have said we did such a horrible thing, such a wrong. But none of them have been able to come and say what they would do had they been facing this election. And you know, they don't mind criticism, at least that part of it be constructive. I invite the opposition party to come to Barbados and say that they will reinstate a policy where the government pays all of the tuition and economic costs to the university students, and please at the same time say how you will do that.
And Innes's comments came on the heels of the launch of an appeal for assistance from the UWI, from its alumni, as well as the public and private sectors. The university will host Global Giving Week in August under the theme Emancipate, Educate, Donate. Former Prime Minister Owen Arthur says investment in the university is needed now more than at any other time in the Caribbean's history.
We are about to live in a new global society, a new global economy, where conventional factors of material production, land, labor, capital are yielding to the new imperative of technology, knowledge, and entrepreneurship. The new economy, the new society will be a learning society. And it behoves us to be able to act today to make sure that our university and our society cease to function in the 20th century and come fully into the new learning society that is to be the 21st. The governments alone cannot do it.
Labour Minister Dr. Esther Bayo-Suku today bid farewell to her father, Reverend Dr. Edwin Bayer. Reverend Bayer passed away on May 22nd after suffering from Alzheimer's disease. Dr. Bayo-Suku described her late father as a man who came from humble beginnings but knew no boundaries and travelled extensively to preach the gospel.
He then went to Trinidad at age 19 to his sister Norma's wedding, and he stayed on to ply his trade. It was there in Trinidad that he heard the call of God, loud and clear, and he would describe it to you. It was an audible, distinct call, and he put down his tools to enter Bible school. He returned to Barbados in 1966, 50 years to the day before he died was 50 years. He returned with a wife in tow, my mom, to work with Pentecostal assemblies of the West Indies. He had stints at Cayman's Bay, here in Barbados. He was in St. Lucia, he was in Antigua, and so on. And then he was the first pastor at Calvary Temple in St. Philip, before then starting Calvary Deliverance Tabernacle in Cox Hill Church Village, St. Philip, more than 40 years ago.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter, that's the move for me. Stability, prosperity, we're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
We're back now with news from the region and a warning to Caribbean countries to brace for higher than usual hurricane activity this year. It comes as weather officials meet in Dominica over the next 2 days ahead of the start of the hurricane season. Forecasters are predicting 12 named storms this year, with at least one major storm of category 3, 4, or 5. Climatologist at the Dominica Met Service, Annie Carrette-Joseph, says the current drought affecting the region will gradually disappear between June and August. The outlook also noted that the second half of the wet season will be more severe than usual in countries like Belize, as well as the Leeward Islands. Dominica was battered by Tropical Storm Erica last August, which caused millions of dollars in infrastructural damage. Meanwhile, the Bahamas was the second CARICOM country to be hit by a major storm last year. Hurricane Joaquin made landfall and leaving behind a trail of damage worth millions of dollars. Government agencies in Nassau say they are ready for what is expected to be an active season. Lieutenant Commander of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force explains the hurricane orders.
There are persons who have been named as advance teams, impact teams, shelter managers, and also personnel who would ride out the storm on board HMBS Coral Harbour. With respect to our surface assets, there's contingency planning for them to do what is called hurricane avoidance. Should the path of the hurricane or the storm be projected in certain islands, they will be able to carry out hurricane avoidance exercises, as well as our aircraft, our surface craft, as well as our aircraft will also have those contingency planning for any hurricane avoidance that may be necessary.
In international news, details are now emerging about the trial of the former leader of Chad, Hissène Habré, who has been sentenced to life in prison for human rights abuses. In a landmark trial in Senegal, Habré was convicted of rape, sexual slavery, and ordering killings during his 8-year rule. We get more in this BBC report.
Hissène Habré's trial was historical and at times theatrical. At his opening hearing, he refused to enter the courtroom. Soldiers had to drag him in. 26 years ago, he was one of the most powerful men on the continent, leading a strong army and a country that both respected and feared him. During his time in power, it's estimated 40,000 people were killed and 200,000 arrested.
When we dug a hole, we would put 2 bodies inside. Here, 2 more bodies. On the other side, the same thing, 2 bodies.
Usman was a prisoner during Habré's rule. This plain was a mass grave. Every day for 2 years, he says he buried at least 6 people.
I don't know why people were arrested or executed. People died a lot. What I know is that they accused me of being involved in politics, but this isn't true. I'm just a farmer.
Anyone who was suspected of being an opponent could be arrested. Those who took up arms against the regime, like this man, were executed. Jibril says over 100 rebels were tied up and shot here before his eyes. He played dead and managed to escape.
And finally, the German airline Lufthansa is reporting that Venezuela owes the company over $100 million in ticket revenue. The revelation follows the carrier's weekend announcement that it is suspending flights to Caracas next month. Lufthansa has struggled to repatriate revenue held in the local Bolivar currency due to exchange controls. It had already reduced flights to the South American country to limit its exposure, and an airline spokesman would not say whether the debt would be written off. That's the news this evening. Remember, there's more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also tune into Channel 99 on Flow TV or Mix 96.9 FM for more news. I am Mary Claire Williams. Have a good evening.